Hi guys, welcome back to Crow's Whisper Tarot. Today we are going to be looking at your future house and get more details on that and see where we go. So this is your piles, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3 and pile 4. Take your time selecting the piles and we'll jump into the reading. Welcome pile 1, you guys picked out the amethyst crystal and we start off with the Ace of Wands. So your future house is going to come at a time where you're, delving into bigger things in your life. A lot of new achievements are going to be happening for you. Things related to ambition, love, creativity, any sort of things regarding that is when this is going to take off in terms of finding this new home. And you'll find on this journey you're going to be experiencing a lot of more self-focused thought processes. What I'm picking up for you. So thinking about your future, where you're going, you as a person, self-development, things like that. That's going to come to a forefront for you in terms of what you want to achieve, and so that leads you to this house. We have the Six of Swords reversed, which is quite interesting, the Child of Swords, and the Five of Cups. So this home is interesting because it has a balance between two things. One is the home itself makes you not want to travel as much. You feel really comfortable with the environment that you end up being in. I don't see this as, going a long distance to find this home. It's within your vicinity where you're comfortable. And with the Child of Swords, it's a place where you get a lot of creativity, a lot of ability to explore your thoughts, explore different aspects of your life in more detail, be a bit more experimental in terms of what you can do on a daily basis for yourself, but also on a daily basis for others. And it brings about a really big sense of change and prosperity for you guys. I feel like this is a spot that you may have a designated study room or a designated library, or just an area where you can focus on research projects, on creative ventures, on a space where you can just work, really, is what I'm picking up, is really important for this new home. The Five of Cups, it makes me think more of like the backyard of a house. If you do have one, it's going to be very minimal. There's not going to be much to it. It may be that when you move in, the backyard's really barren. You may want to spruce that up. But in general, I feel like the focus of the house is more the interior in terms of the study space, the space to be creative, the space to focus on things in life. That's going to be on the forefront of what this house has that you are really invested in. But yeah, overall this house gives a lot of comfort, a lot of opportunity to explore new things, and also a lot of possibilities for you, which is funny because you got the Seven of Cups pop up as well. So yeah, possibilities and being able to expand yourself, more of an internal focus than actual travel aspect of things. And also, yes, the Guardian of Wands, which was the other thing I was picking up, is self-discovery, making yourself important, making yourself flexible in all things that come to you, and being able to really put yourself out there in the best sense, and not fearing, the fire of others and things like that. So I think overall this house gives you a really strong sense of self by the end of your period of staying at that house. There's going to be a few things that I think you may start changing in the home. It's not going to be a perfect home to start off with, but what it brings to you in terms of inner peace, concentration on what you want to do, reduces the amount of distractions that you'll end up having, which is really interesting. And we also have the Night Owl potion. So I see this card as essentially what this house will bring you. And it's interesting because Night Owl potion is the ability to be intelligent, comfortable with yourself, being able to put yourself out there, rely more on yourself as much as possible, especially with the moon. Having really good intuition is something that is part of it, but it's more for your sense of self, what you can bring to yourself, things like that. Insight is what it says up here as well. So having really good insight as to what makes you tick, what makes you powerful, what makes you, you know, achieve all your dreams, things like that. So this house brings a lot of focus is what I'm picking up more than anything else. There's a focus on what's important to you and what's important for life in general, but I feel like it'll bring you so much investment as to where you want to go, what you want to achieve, and it just aligns perfectly with that Ace of Wands card, where you're able to really hone into the skills you have and your ability to sort of create as well. So that is really, really important. But before we finish up, we're going to pick out a few extra cards and bits and pieces to see what this future home will bring you. So we have growth, which was pretty obvious. We have unit or townhouse, so a much smaller property, and we have single story as well, so that's similar. Now I got big yard, so some of you may have a big yard as well, and we also have a lot of rooms. So that is really interesting. I couldn't read my writing for a second, so I didn't realize what I said, but there could be a lot of rooms, a lot of space within the house itself, so that's something to keep in mind. But yes, that was your reading, pile one. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Welcome, pile two. You guys picked out the citrine crystal. We're going to have a look at what your future home is going to bring. We have the Queen of Cups. So it could be that when you first move into this house, you're at a point in your life where you're looking to gain more perspective in terms of the relationships that you have. It may be that you're getting into a new relationship and so you moved in together. It can also be a place where you can build a family as well, if that's what you're looking for. But it's a place where you're able to connect well with others and be in a sense where you want to put your energy more to the people in your life rather than the events in your life, if that makes sense. So let's have a look at some of the other cards that popped up for you in terms of what this house will bring. We have the Explorer of Wands, which is also the Knight of Wands, the 10 of Wands reversed, and the Elder of Swords. So overall, this house is going to bring a lot of new opportunities for you. And it can also be that you're working through a little bit of more hardship in your life, or trying to overcome a bit of hardship in your life. So this house will give you a sense of drive, a sense of purpose, the ability to move forward with whatever comes into your life as well, and give you a really strong sense of clarity with the King of Swords, I should say. The King of Swords gives a really strong ability for you to identify what's working, what's not, being really decisive in events in your life, and being able to help process things a lot easier. I feel like this home gives a really strong sense of comfort for you guys more than anything, and also the ability to adapt to new situations and be more excited about what life has to bring, and not be too bogged down with, you know, burnout or feeling like you don't have enough time or energy to put into these circumstances that are happening in your life. Let's have a few more messages for you. I think that one did want to come out. So we have the 5 of Swords, the Devil card, and the 5 of Pentacles. Now, I know it doesn't sound great to start off with, but it comes with a few interesting pieces. So the 5 of Swords is actually the ability to put a stop to things that are not working out. It's almost like you're trying to yell at the wall, if that makes sense, a lot of the time. But what this house essentially helps to do is set a strong boundary for people who come in not wanting to give you the best. And so the house itself has almost like a control point where it's assessing and making sure that the boundary isn't crossed for you guys. So it could be that you guys live near a very big forest, or trees are really important at the front of the property, whether it creates that boundary line, as I said. But it allows for you to focus on what's important and let everything else sort of fade away. I know the Devil card seems a bit odd given the situation, but it really just focuses more on the fact that even if there are difficult times with the Five of Pentacles or the Five of Swords, you have the ability to almost shield yourself from it, and focus on the light that's there rather than the darkness, so to speak. Because what it does is it creates this boundary where all they see is your light, and so you just focus on your light and the darkness doesn't seem as dark. So this house gives the opportunity for you to rejuvenate, go back into a system that's a little more effective, and be able to get into that state of things. With the Five of Pentacles, it could be that open spaces are really important for you. Again, with a lot of the cards, there seem to be more of a focus on that boundary, but also a sense of freedom that comes from within. So you might be looking at, you know, again, a really strong fence line, or the front yard is a lot bigger, and so it takes a while for someone to approach the house so you don't feel like you're just on the street, and that might give you a better sense of security, better sense of comfort in that perspective. A fireplace or fire pit in the backyard could be really important for you as well. Some of you might like to not dress up the house as much, so more of a minimalistic style, simply because if that's what gives you comfort, that's what you'll get. But overall, I feel like this environment is just going to be more beneficial for you given the circumstances that you'll end up being in. For some of you, I'm getting more specifically that you might be moving after some sort of hardship with someone in your life, and so this environment gives a lot of clarity, a lot of focus, and moving towards something that's more effective for you. And the final card that we have is Memento Mori, Graveyard Dust, which is quite an interesting card because it's about essentially what this house gives to you. And it's funny because of what we were talking about. This is about more specifically getting into a space where you're just living in the moment. You're not focused on the long term. You're not focused on complex things. You're just focusing on today, being in the moment, being able to enjoy the moment to the best of your ability, not trying to let other people or circumstances weigh in on how you feel. You're simply living your best life. And it's almost like you're being revitalized in that sense as well. And also because we have Mercury here as well, this is going to be an opportunity for, Mars I meant, with Mars being able to get into that drive, especially with the Explorer of Wands, being able to get into a drive, exploring your creativity, being really blunt and, you know, going about your life as best as you can with as much light as you can. And that's what's going to give you the most joy with this house. Is it's going to allow you to simply live your best life and not feel like, even if there are things that can weigh you down, they don't feel like they are. So that is what this house brings for you. So let's have a look at a few of the additional messages that come through with this. So we do have a pool for you guys. It could be a studio apartment. Could be renovated. We have rooms, so it could have a lot of rooms. A double-story house. It provides you a lot of growth, or you can find yourself growing in this house. We have a big yard. We have an open plan, and we also have sold. So it could be a house that you have sold in the past and moved back into, or it can also be that it's very easy for you to purchase this property if you so choose. So that was your reading, pile 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading on your future home. Let's have a look at what this home brings to you. So we have the 3 of Cups. So you might find this house at a time where you're looking to spend more time with friends or increase your social life, or at a time where you might move into a friend's apartment, things like that. It's definitely a move related to the people around you and related to your social life. So this house brings a lot of interesting environments for you, more specifically with the Guardian of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Pentacles. It gives you the opportunity to really live out your best life. It could also be related to saving, so you may save a lot with this house. And it gives you the opportunity to be more grounded, be more connected to the people around you. And it might be in an environment that has a lot of foresty areas, a lot of trees. We also have the Fool, so you might be moving into more interesting parts of life, more interesting experiences. Could be a completely new location, completely new place, but it gives you a lot of sense of excitement and a sense of exploration as well. And we also have the Hermit card, which is very interesting compared to the other 2. It could be that it has an environment where you feel really comfortable at home. It feels really safe, secure. You're able to relax a lot more, focus a lot more on yourself, and not be distracted by external factors when you are at home. So it could be really relaxing. For some of you, you might find that there is more of an openness to the house, or there's a lot of openness on the outside of the house that makes you feel more sheltered, more secure. You don't feel like it's in the middle of the city and being really crowded, but that depends on where you're living. Usually with the other piles I felt like I had to pull this last one. I'm pulling this out now for some reason, so let's have a look at a few additional messages in terms of the location. So we do have apartment, growth, which a lot of the groups got, library, we have animals, so you could have animals at the house or outside the house, double story, single story, renovated, and we also have a pool. Oh, whoops, no, I read that wrong. Could be an old property or renovated from an old property. We have sold, so it could be sold to you, or you might be a property that you grew up in and then you're purchasing again. We also have townhouse or unit, so a lot of different environments have come up for that one. Take what resonates, but overall it's going to be a property that is going to be giving you a lot of excitement regardless. But let's have a look at a few additional messages. So we have the 9 of Cups, the 7 of Swords, and the 5 of Wands reversed. So I think nature plays a really big role in terms of how you feel about this environment. I am picking up a lot more trees as well. It's interesting how before I said pool, because there is quite a bit of water or some sort of lake that is nearby, at least with this property. It does seem like it's somewhere that feels completely different to every other place you've lived in. It feels very unique. It feels like you can't really compare it to anything else. But it also stands out a lot in terms of the rest of the neighborhood as well. It's just in terms of the structure of the house and the appearance of the house, it appears very different to the rest. Now we also have the 5 of Wands reversed. The one thing I'm picking up with this is it gives you a really strong sense of being grounded. Usually the Five of Wands is chaos, you know, it's fighting with a lot of factors. There's a lot of other influences that come into play, but this one generally means harmony. It means that everything that once was really complex and really out there and you can't really sort the pieces out, everything sort of settles down into nothing at this house, which is really, really good. I feel like you just get a really strong sense of comfort with this property, and it gives you a lot of interest with the property itself. And especially with the Nine of Cups, it gives you such a big sense of comfort and joy, and you can't really move out of that sort of headspace, which is interesting because we got Dreamcatcher with protection. So again, this house could be really good in terms of bringing your mind at ease, helping you sleep, especially with that Hermit card as well, and bringing an energy where you can just sort of live your life and not be hyper focused on the external. It could be a really good location as well in terms of spirituality, being connected with nature, being able to align yourself to where you want to go and what you want to be. It definitely has a very strong connection to the moon energies if you're interested in that. But ideally, this property gives you a lot of sense of self, and I feel like with the cards that came up, especially the Three of Cups from initially why you would want to move in the first place, this property gives you the opportunity to just grow as a person, the ability to socialize and have an active life and sort of go about do things, and then come home and reset and sort of almost distance yourself from the chaos for a period of time and then going back into that environment. I think that's what makes this house give such balance, and the chaos itself is sort of dissipates at this house. It's really external chaos, and then once you're at home it just feels like calm, and then you can explore and enjoy yourself and then go back and do things all over again, which is really, really cool. So that was your reading, pile 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Welcome, pile 4, to your reading on your future home. We're going to start off with the scenario that you're going to have at the time of moving into this property. So we have the Temperance card, but we also have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So in terms of the environment before moving into this new property, it's going to be things are not going to plan, and you're sort of having too many things happening in your life where one, you're balancing, you know, work life, and then one, you're balancing your social life and family life and that things like that. So you're sort of in between two worlds essentially, and you feel like you don't have the time or energy to control what's happening in your life. And so this property comes at a really unexpected time, and you're not really wanting to move, but you do end up moving to some extent as well. We have the Empress. We have the Nine of Wands, and we also have the Four of Wands. So the environment itself of the house is one where you can relax. It's really opulent. There's a lot of changes here. I'm not sure if some of you, it's because you're living with family and they move and you're forced to move as well, or if you're, you know, working and, you know, your partner has to change jobs to a different country and so you move completely. But it definitely is a sense of thrown off balance before we get to this new property. But this new property gives a lot of interesting opportunities for you, especially with the Nine of Wands and the Four of Wands. There's going to be a lot of celebration, a lot of comfort. It could be in a more opulent area, but it does feel like there's going to be a lot of new opportunities that come to you. A lot of interesting time frames. It could also be that you are having a more active life where you're constantly moving different places, trying different things. You're always on the go, and so you can't really, you know, control what you do in terms of the environment itself. But I think the time you spend at home is much less compared to the time you spend externally, and that includes on weekends and things as well. So I think socializing and things are much more significant compared to being at home. Now, in terms of the cards that came out just now, we have the moon and we have the sun. So two opposing environments, but overall the sense is that the moon gives you, you know, more comfort, more spirituality, connecting more to your inner self and your emotions. And the sun is directing those emotions and sensations outward, bringing out joy and happiness and contentment and things like that. Overall, I would say you probably lean more to the sun card in this house. It can also be that this property has really big windows, so when, you know, the moon or sun does come out, it shines straight through the house. You can always see it. For some of you, the house may have a round window, and so because of that, you know, the shape itself, it allows that light in and makes it really unique. I think overall, in terms of this entire property, it gives you, again, the luxuries that you want, the comfort that you want, but it also gives you a lot of calm in terms of your emotions for some of you, but it can also make those states that you get into heightened. And, you know, emotions sort of go through almost a roller coaster and waves that come through, but it could be that your emotions are actually moving and pivoting depending on the environment itself as well. So you might find that, similar to the moon phases, your emotions sort of ebb and flow quite naturally in this house. If you're someone who sort of keeps your emotions at bay and not really express them as easily, you might find that this house almost triggers you to express those emotions a lot more than what you typically would. And that could be a little bit disconcerting for some of you, but it leads to a lot of beautiful opportunities. So we have the Two of Cups and we have the Eight of Wands. So a lot of power, a lot of speed and encouragement, and being able to get into a really magnetic energy. And the Two of Cups is usually about soulmate, but it's connecting to your inner self, connecting to your divine purpose, and being able to relate a lot better to the people in your life that are really important, and allows you to share as much as possible. So I think this property gives more emotional significance to compared to the other groups that we've had. I think it really the property itself plays a lot with your emotions. So we've got a card that shows your, I guess, the energy that this house is going to give you, which is Mermaid Tears. And again, related to the moon energy once again, Mermaid Tears usually talks about being able to move through the space and let sort of energy flow within you, but it also relates more to, again, that moon energy, so emotions and deeper thoughts and purposes, to allow those emotions to overcome you and then let them go, and being able to be happy to embrace the difficult emotions and then, you know, bring about more happiness, which is essentially what these cards are about. It's about letting the hidden come to the light and then let the light almost dissipate those complex emotions. So it definitely plays into those two aspects quite a lot. But with Mermaid Tears, it's really about being able to be comfortable within yourself, and I think this house almost triggers that emotional state within you. So let's have a look at a few additional messages about the house itself. So we have sold, so it could be a property that was bought by yourself, or that a property that you've moved into, that you used to live in. We have single story, we have rooms galore, we have apartment, a double story property, a studio, and a renovated property. So that's just something to look forward to. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.